Hey guys, I'm back. I'll be creating a series of videos discussing the topics in Calculus 1. Don't forget to follow my page to be updated on every topic that I'll be posting. Kindly share this video to your children, friends, and brothers and sisters to help them learn calculus. So sit tight and enjoy my engineering códigos, the path of becoming an engineer. Okay, so for today's topic, we will be talking about the limit properties. So as of the moment, we have almost come to actually compute some limits. However, before we proceed on solving much or more complicated limit problems, we need to learn more about some of its properties. This is somehow to make our life somewhat much easier. So let's go ahead and let's learn the concept of the limit properties. So we have the first one. The limit of the function c times f of x as x approaches to a is equal to c times the limit of the function f of x as x approaches to a. So this simply means that, in other words, we can factor a multiplicative constant out of a limit. So for example, we are going to find or calculate the limit of the function 5x squared as x approaches to 2. So according to the property, we can factor out a constant, as you can see, and then evaluate the limit with a variable. So we will have 5 times 2 raised to the power of 2, and then we will have 20. Okay? Gets ba? Gets na yan? Anyway, let's go to the second property of the limit. So the limit of the function f of x plus or minus the function g of x as x approaches to a is equal to the limit of the function f of x as x approaches to a plus or minus the limit of the function g of x as x approaches to a. So to take the limit of sum or difference, all we need to do is take the limit of the individual parts, and then we can combine them back together with the appropriate sign. So take note, this is not limited only to 2 functions. So this can work no matter how many functions we've got separated by the addition or subtraction. So let's have an example here. Find the limit of the function 5x squared plus 3x as x approaches to 2. According to the limit, we can separate them into 2 functions. So we'll have 5x squared as the function f of x and 3x as the function g of x. So you will have limit of the function 5x squared as x approaches to 2 plus the limit of the function 3x as x approaches to 2. So we will have on the first part, factor out based on our previous property, and then evaluate the limit, and then evaluate as well the second term, and then we will have 26 as the final answer. So next, we have the third limit property. So this is the multiplication limit property, in which it tells us that the limit of the function f of x times g of x as x approaches to a is simply equals the limit of the function f of x as x approaches to a times the limit of the function g of x as x approaches to a. So this is somehow very similar to the previous limit properties. So we are going to separate the function into 2 limits and then evaluate them. So let's have an example. So let's say find the limit of the function 5x squared times 3x as x approaches to 2. So we will assume that the function f of x is 5x squared and the function g of x as 3x. So we can evaluate them as 2 separate limit function, as you can see in the screen. So the limit of the function 5x squared as x approaches to 2 times the limit of the function 3x as x approaches to 2. So we can use this type of property in limit. So doing this one, we will have this one, and then we will obtain the final answer as 120. Okay, so that's nice and easy. So let's have another limit property, another very similar to the previous 2 limit property. So this is what we called as the division limit properties. So same as before, we are going to separate the 2 functions into 2 limits so that we can evaluate them easily. But take note, in the division limit property, you must avoid that the function g of x, or let's say your the function in your denominator must not be equal to 0. Take note that a fractional function with a 0 denominator is not applicable, since we cannot have a valid number, or it will be undefined. Okay, so if you encounter such cases, we need to play first with the algebra so that we can evaluate the limit. Okay, so let's have an example here regarding this limit function. The limit of the function 5x squared divided by 3x as x approaches to 2. So we will divide this or separate this into two limits, evaluate the numerator limit and also the denominator, and we will obtain the final answer as 10 over 3. So that's how easy it is. Okay, next limit properties, we have the exponential limit properties. So it states that the limit of the function f of x raised to the exponent of n as x approaches to a is simply equals the limit of the function f of x as x approaches to a raised to the power of n. So take note, n is any real number. So simple lang naman ang ibig sabihin nito. Let's have an example. So here, the properties is telling us that we can evaluate first the limit inside the function, and then after taking the result, you can apply the exponent. So here we will apply the limit of 5x plus 2 as x approaches to 2. Then we will have 5 times 2 plus 2. Then we will apply the exponent and we will obtain the final answer as 144. Okay, so next, another limit properties. We have a very similar to the previous one. So on the previous one, we are dealing with exponential limit properties. In this case, we are just dealing with a radical. So this is somehow like an extension of the previous property. So let's have an example here. So same as before, we will only evaluate first the limit inside the radical sign. So here, and then after performing that, we apply the radical symbol and then calculate the final answer, in which we will obtain 2 times the square root of 3. So nice and easy. So let's have another one. The final limit properties. So it states that the limit of the function c as x approaches to a is equal to c. So where c is any real number. So simple lang ito. The limit is telling us that the limit of any constant number is always equal to the constant. Okay, so that's the 7th properties of limit. So I guess that's all for today, and I hope you learned something on our short discussion. And Engineer Cas is signing off. Bye bye.